Now, we want to get into our learning objectives for the class. This is very important. The dimensions are one of the most important things in an assessment center, and you really have to have a good knowledge base of that. So what we're going to do is we're going to cover a review of what we did in the introductory level, and that's the basis for all assessment centers. And then we're going to have specific dimensions for the fire tactical exercise, and they're going to apply specifically to the tactical exercise.
Like Chief Dave just told you, you cannot score points in an assessment center unless you understand the dimensions. Now, the basic dimensions we've covered in the introductory lecture also apply here, but we're also going to be reviewing specific dimensions related to the tactical exercise. Now, in addition to that, we're going to introduce the most common tactical exercise you have that you may be faced with in your department.
That's correct. Now, we have to understand scenario rules and the testing rules. If you do not follow the rules in any area of life, you're not going to do well. So that's going to be a very big component, is understanding the rules and how to apply them to the scenario.
Now, most firefighters that we work with are very adept and skilled at running their fire scenes, and they're very skilled at the task level, but it's important you understand how to run an entire scene, and more importantly, how to express your steps, your strategies, your tactics within the dimensions. So we're going to make sure you understand how to hit the dimensions on your promotional test.
Another critical component is your incident priorities and your strategic goals, which you'll hear us refer to that as LIPE and RECOVS. But we're going to go in depth on understanding your incident priorities, applying that to the tactical exercise, and hitting your strategic goals, using those to assign your resources and score well in this tactical exercise.
Firefighters are very skilled at the phases of size up. Now, we're going to make sure we go into the 4 phases of size up and really emphasize that size up is a process that doesn't end on a fire scene. It goes all the way throughout, and you have to continue incorporating the new information you gain in the size up to your incident priorities as well as your strategic goals.
Now, another key component and one of the biggest tips we can give you is following a 12-step outline that Chief Freddie and myself have developed. This has helped countless students score #1 in their tests, and it's going to be the #1 thing you're going to use when you're following a flow and an order, is to understand that 12-step outline and apply it to whichever type of exercise you're having. It's going to be the building block for what we're doing.
That's absolutely right, Dave. Without that building block, without that foundation, you just can't be successful on a test because there's a lot of pressure. There's a lot of stress when you're in that testing environment. The beauty of this 12-step system, it's going to work for any type of test that you have, and more importantly, it's going to work the first day you're sitting in that right front seat of that apparatus. It's something that can be used day in and day out. Now, in addition, we're going to give you some test-taking tips, hints, some strategies, some tips that you can use on your test to ensure that you're #1. Now, what we're going to do now is we're going to go back and review some of the dimensions that we've gone over earlier, as well as introduce new dimensions that are specific to your tactical. So we hope you enjoy this dimension review.